Welcome to Disney Princess Empowerment 1937 to 2010. This was a really fun project, thinking about the ways that you can empower viewers. You know, there's little girls watching these princesses. How are these princesses responding to their situations? So my criteria here was any challenging situation / interaction that calls for a response. So I went through each movie, and any moment there was an uncomfortable situation or a conflict or a challenge, and it made you look over to see, how is this Disney princess responding? You know, what is that teaching viewers? What is it teaching young girls? And I put it on a scale. This is my scale. -1, they gave up way too easily. 0, they did nothing. 1 point if they spoke up timidly or wished on stars, so it's kind of like they almost acted, but they didn't quite. 2 points if they spoke up boldly, persuaded, or asked for help, so there's more action here. But I left 3 points for if they really took action, if they dove in, really putting it all on the line, and then 4 if they took action and it was particularly scary or impressive. And then I put them all in a graph. So this is Snow White's graph. This is her first challenge, and she actually didn't have as many challenges. There's more challenges as the Disney princesses evolved. So Snow White starts off as a servant, forced to be a servant. That's her first challenge, and her response is to just wish in a well, confide in animals. She gets 1 point because it's a little bit better than doing nothing. When she is, almost killed, she does unfortunately just kind of stand there, so does nothing. Her empowerment goes up quite a bit when she decides to go and get the dwarves to do what she wants and to take her in, and she lays the law down and boundaries, and she actually has a little bit of empowerment here, taking the lead, more than our second princess. So Sleeping Beauty, hers was a little more rough. She barely had any challenges in her story, and the one challenge that she maybe could have responded to was finding out that she couldn't marry her love, that she was engaged to someone else. But she kind of cries and gives up immediately, which was a little too quick, so she lost a point there. It's a beautiful, beautiful movie, just not the most empowering character. So Cinderella was interesting as well, because it starts to pick up a little bit more. She was trying to speak up for herself quite a few times, and one time she really firmly spoke up for herself. Her lowest point was probably the evil stepmother, manipulating her into not going because she was given so many chores, and she kind of just shrugs it off and says, "Oh, yeah, I can't really go."
You're not ready, child. I'm not going.
And unfortunately, she gives up a little too easily. She could have maybe found some other ways of solving that problem. So this was her most empowering moment here.
Oh no! No, please! Oh, you can't do this. You just can't. Let me out! You must let me out! You can't keep me in here!
So she finally, really boldly, demands to be set free. And on top of that, later, I won't show it, but she gets the help of animals to help her. She runs down the steps. She shows that she has the other slipper, so she actually does a lot more action. And I give her a little bit of extra points because, give Cinderella a break. She has gone through a lot. That was a very brave moment for her. But it really took nope, wrong order. It really took a turn for the Disney princesses when Ariel came along, because she was so brave and took risks constantly, was very, very proactive. From the very first 5 seconds of the movie that she shows up, and she just dives right in without hesitation. So Ariel, this is her realizing the prince was in trouble and decided to jump headfirst into the water to go save him, even though she doesn't have fins. And so sometimes Ariel gets a bad rap for, giving up her voice. But overall, her character, she was making deals with sea witches and going against her dad and she was very proactive about her situation constantly. Then you have Jasmine was probably the most consistently empowering in terms of like her personality and her presence. She just would not let people walk over her. She constantly spoke up for herself.
How dare you? All of you, standing around deciding my future? I am not a prize to be won.
So she also held people accountable constantly. I think this is probably the most empowering thing about Jasmine compared to almost everyone else, is just how much she held people accountable. Tiana as well did this with the prince in her story. But Jasmine was there first. Pretty good for the 90s. Belle was really interesting. She had some very, very timid moments. Just saying very, very apologetic, kind of quiet in her.
Boys like me.
Imagine that.
Do you know who that little wife will be?
Let me think.
You, Belle.
Yes, I'm
So just kind of a little bit more timid, especially compared to, Jasmine, who is very, very firm and holding people accountable. But Belle did also take a lot more brave risks, like fighting off wolves and, taking her father's place. And so there were some very, big actions of Belle, but like her personality was a little bit more timid. And so that's kind of why her graph looks like this. And Tiana, I would say, is kind of a little bit of a combination of Jasmine and Belle. Like she held people accountable, but she also had some slightly timid moments. But overall, just very much taking the wheel and being very proactive. And then last but not least, we have Rapunzel, who definitely had, like, her arc was kind of giving in to her to Mother Gothel and being very timid and unsure, but then so awesome with when she decided to take action.
Alone at last.
So out of all of the princesses, this one it was really funny to go from someone like Snow White, who just kind of would stand there and cower, and then you had Rapunzel, who kept threatening Flynn constantly with the frying pan and knocking him unconscious and dragging him around and running from the law. And but also props to Rapunzel for being manipulated and oppressed, but still constantly challenging and rising above that. So even though not the most consistently empowered, I think Rapunzel to me had some of the best moments of empowerment just because of everything that she had to go through. So yeah, that is Disney Empowerment, Princess Empowerment. Thanks for watching.